All right, hey guys, got you at the anvil. That's where we cover important stuff. We'll talk about this in a minute. So today we rained out. It's story time, and I'm gonna cover some comments. And it might not be in that order. But first, you young guys, I went in my analytics and you got a bad report card. You're not paying attention. You're clicking off at about 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes, somewhere between 2 and 3 minutes. You're missing it. You're going to learn something in every video. Now, if I need to get a kitty cat playing with a chicken or something, or I don't know, something to entertain you, I will, because it's important that you watch and listen and learn. You're young and I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to make these videos to encourage you and help you along your way. Whatever trade you want to get into, my goal is to get you into something where you can put food in your mouth. And actually, in the end, I want you to invest in things that pay you to own them. And it's not all about welding. And I'm getting a lot of comments, and I'm going to go over some comments, and that's going to take me to the next thing. But one of them was, I'm trying to paraphrase it, can you talk about the hardships of being a welder? Can you talk about, being gone from your family and all that stuff, and doing shutdown, stuff like that? And at first I told him no, but it's important because it sucks. And for all you young guys, that is part of it. It was for me. That's where I cut my teeth, was in power plants shutdowns. And there's some of you guys listening right now. If I worked a shutdown with you, leave it in comments, because we had some good times and we had some rough times. I'm talking 712s, 714s for a few weeks. It was probably the hardest thing ever. I mean, when you're a welder in a power plant, don't click off, listen. Hey, don't ever abuse your file like that. But when you're a welder and you're trying to scratch your way up from the bottom, you're going to have to do some stuff. I'd like to say different words, but I'm trying to keep this clean. You're going to have to do some stuff that you don't think you need to do, or you're a welder and I don't have to do that type of, I'm a welder. If it ain't round, throw it on the ground. That will get you run off and it will get you nowhere. You're going to have to do the stuff that nobody else wants to do. That's a comment I got. Let me get to that comment before I get off track. I actually took a screenshot of it because the man is a welder. And you old timers, not old timers, you guys have been welding for 10, 15, 20, 28 years, somebody that are reaching out in the comments. I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me. Don't click off, you young bucks. I'm trying to show you something. William Thomas, now listen close. You made a very important point that I hope was heard by all those just getting out of welding school. You guys at Tulsa for sure. You're not going to be a top dog welder the first time you walk onto the job or in the shop, fresh out of school. Absolutely. I paid my dues on very first job was galvanized handrails. Yep. Structural welder is pretty much the bottom of the totem pole. And when there was nothing to do, I helped electricians. And when there wasn't anything to do, I went over to I just did whatever I could. Just make a hand when you can. And if you don't know what to do, don't click off the damn video. If you don't know what to do, get in the way. These guys will help you. These guys that have been in it a while, they spot somebody doing their best, trying to learn, asking questions. They will help you. I'm telling you, they're good people. You're going to pay your dues, and if you want to succeed, you better suck it up and say yes, sir, and get in there and do the dirty grunt work and act like you like it, even though you're cussing under your breath with every fiber of your being. I have been there so many times. Let me stop right there and comment a little bit. My grandmother told me, and she is absolutely right, she's one of the smartest people I've ever met. She said, anytime you give somebody a piece of your mind, it will cost you dollars and cents. That has been true. I fantasized about wrapping my hand around some consultants' necks. I mean, I was real close, and I never did that. I never, ever swung a punch at work. I never cursed anybody out at work. I chased a few helpers around. I got pretty pissed off at them, but just do your best to control that, because it will come back and haunt you. You only get to do that maybe once, possibly twice, and then you are labeled as you don't get along with others, and you're done. So remember that. Being the new guy with no experience, the work site politics alone will run you off. Will run a lot of people off. That is, there's a lot of meat in there, and I hope you guys are listening, because you're going to have to pay your dues. Now, story time. Speaking of paying your dues, I thought I would mention probably the worst job I ever had, because there's somebody in the comments that's working at a shipyard. Man, I was down to my last $500. I was young, stupid, and I took the summer off. I drug up from the job, a good job in North Carolina. Drug up just because I was ready to go, and it was summertime. I wanted to hang out and do dumb stuff with my buddies. So I came home and I partied. I had like $12,000 when I got home, and I bought a ski boat. I bought a ski boat, and I already had a new truck. I did all the stuff, dumb stuff first. And so I got down to my last $500, and I started calling around trying to find work, and it started to get out that I was going to drag up in about 8 weeks, or, maybe 3 months. It was about the longest I like to stay anywhere. And it was hard to find a job. Well, lucky for me, my good buddy, Uday, he was a little Indian guy, and he was, man, those Indian people are really salt of the earth. I mean, that little dot-head Indians. They took me in, and I lived with 7 Hindu Indians in a 2-bedroom apartment for about long enough to get a paycheck. And it wasn't because of them. They would give me the shirt off their back. But they ate some really strange things. They was chopping up fish heads. I'm telling you the truth. They was chopping up them fish like that, scraping them off in a bucket, and mix up a big old pile of rice, and we ate on the floor with our hands like raccoons. I ain't joking you none. But what would happen is, let's see, where am I at? The job was so crappy. I showed up to work my first day, and this big old black dude was standing there looking at me, and I said, okay, well, what do I have to do? Where's the welding test, And he threw a piece of plate on the ground. I thought, oh, no. He said, just make a bead on that piece of plate. With a flux core suitcase. So I jumped down there. Don't click off the video, you young bucks. I'm trying to show you something. You're going to learn something here. Kitty cat videos ain't going to do you any good. And I made me a little bead on that piece of plate. He said, all right, you passed. Gave me a suitcase and pointed me to a hole in the ship. I went down to that hole, and it was about 100 yards to the end of it, through ports that are about 4 foot tall, and you had to crawl through these little spaces, and the electricity would go out about every 45 minutes. You just be in the nastiest. You had to scratch that paint up, take this file and scratch that paint up, and dig it out and wire wheel it, and what I did that as long as I could. And by the time, so I had found another job, but I was waiting to get my paycheck, and I told that old boy when I left. He said, well, how'd you like it? I said, I'm going to tell you, buddy, it was the worst job I've ever had. And he said, come on back if you ever want to have the worst job you ever had. But I did him a good job. I sucked it up. You're going to have to do that. This welding stuff isn't all glory. I'm just telling you right now. So get ready to pay your dues. Now, with all that being said, the more you learn right now from me and these other older fellas, the faster you're going to get through your dues paying. When you're helping somebody, or you're just breaking out, or you just passed your welding test, and you got to get in, there's some mud to get in, and nobody wants to get in, you need to be the first one out there getting in the mud belly deep. Period. You need to be welding OLETs on you need to weld every OLET you see, everything they'll let you weld. You need to be welding the 2-inch. When there's 12-inch to do in the jack stands, and there's 2-inch in position to do, you need to be doing that. And I got a question earlier about how, do you have any tips on 60-10 uphill 2-inch? Not really. You're going to have to figure that out. Get the gap like I showed you, maybe a little bit tighter because it's uphill. Tack the top, tack the bottom, and run it uphill. Just jam it in there and go. If you don't get it, do it again. It'll probably take you about 500 times and you'll be really good at it. So just deal with it. Make a bunch of coupons and screw them all up until you get one good. But just because you get through that one pass, go ahead and grind it out, hot pass it, and cap it on every one of them. By the time you do 500 of them, you'll be a good welder. Now we get back in these comments, and I'm just going to run through them real quick. I don't want to keep you guys too long because I know everybody's got something going on. All right, here's a good one. Eternal Infernal. What would you say to young guys coming out of welding school as far as getting their first job for experience? I'm thinking about what every option pays me the best is what I'm aiming for. Yes, you're on the right track. I just found your channel and I would like the way you explain things. No doubt the channel will become very popular. Thank you. I think so too. All right, so coming out of welding school, you need to find a welding job that pays the best. Maybe not at first. You might have to be a helper on a pipeline, something like that. Because if you go to, I see people fall for this. Listen to me. Don't click off the video. This is important. People fall for, and I have taught tons of people almost how to get there. They're almost welders, and they'll run off and go do a MIG welding job. And I'm not taking anything away from you guys, but I kind of am. Sorry. That's not where the money is. Period. I see all these videos and pictures of how pretty their MIG gun is. My welding teacher would not let me run a MIG gun. He said, I'm not teaching you that. You can teach a monkey how to do it. And he's exactly right. You can go over that MIG gun over there and turn it on, and it'll tell you what to do, and you can make a pretty bead. My wife could come out here and do it. The competition is too much. It's the difference between being a track hoe operator and mowing yards. The competition's different. A good track hoe operator is hard to find. You can find anybody mow your yard. So look at it like that. I'm probably hurting some feelings, but I don't care. That's the truth. So keep that in mind when you're looking for a job that pays good right off the bat. Because jobs like that might pay about the same or a little more coming out of the gate. But look at the end game. Look at, I hope I'm making sense. You just said everything I'm planning to do, and I just turned 22. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Hector Meza. Good job, Hector. That's cool, man. I'm not a welder, and I was randomly recommended this video, but I like your energy. Subbed. Want more health videos? All right, look, dude. On the health stuff, not everybody, people come in here for welding. I might start putting health stuff at the end of the video. I'm going to leave some meat at the end of the video because I got to get people to watch all the way through. If I'm going to make it to the top, that's what I got to do. So I'm going to start, all of it's going to be good. I'm not going to ever make a video that's crap or something, where I don't feel good about it. I'm going to try to bring value in every video, but I can't really do that on the welding channel, on health. So I might put it at the end, and I'll let you know in the middle of the video when that is. But that's it. So I probably had y'all on here long enough. I'm curious to see how this does. I'm trying to figure out how to catch the young guys that have an attention span like a goldfish. Here's the last tip I'm going to give you, young fellas, because you lasted all the way till the end of the video. When you show up to a job for your very, very first time, and you're just green, I know I showed up and did everything wrong, and I want to try to save you from it. Show up with a file and take that chipping hammer and throw it in the ditch before you get there. Do never, ever take a chipping hammer to a welding job. Unless you're some kind of structural welder, and that's not really what I'm teaching. But you might have to do that. Even if you're a structural welder, you don't need a chipping hammer. All it does is make dents in your weld. Ting, ting, ting. I see kids just beating the hell out of their weld, and it makes it look like crap. He could be a decent welder until he beat the hell out of it with a pick. It looked like he hit it with a cold chisel. Take a file and, okay, this thing only cuts one way. That way. Okay? You can use this side to do whatever. I like to cut grooves in it like that. and use it like a saw. It really works good on low hydrogen to peel that slag off. This is the best way to remove slag, period. If you show up with a chip and hammer, everybody's going to know you're a greenhorn. That's the truth. Well, guys, I hope you liked the video. Subscribe and ring the bell. I'm going to keep this kind of information coming. I hope y'all have an awesome, awesome day. Leave any questions in the comments. Any of them. I don't care what it is. I will do my best to answer them. I'm probably going to start answering more on video because it makes it more personal, and most people don't go to the comments, and they're missing out on everything because there's a ton of meat in there. And if you got any gripes and complaints, you can write them down, roll them up, and stick them. Have an awesome, awesome day. Later.